With pride, with pride, my boy.
Wait a second. Let's pause on that real quick.
Okay.
Award-winning people. Yes. This ain't for play. He does it for real.
Oh no, that's as real as it gets. I'm as real as it gets.
Can you tell our listeners what award did you win?
Yeah.
So most recently, my film Boston and Philly won the best film at the Haiti Movie Awards.
Okay. Wow.
And that was actually one of the proudest moments of my career thus far because my family was in the stands. Had a lot of friends in the community, so it was a blessing.
Okay.
That's what's up.
Can you tell us a little bit about what that movie was about?
Yes. Well, I mean, I'm here to push Boston to Philly.
Yeah.
It's a coming-of-age drama, so it's a black film that really kind of comes off very different than anything else you may have seen or heard of before. Because it's a cast ensemble piece. So what that means is a lot of different characters with their own unique story arcs that kind of come together as a collective at the end of the story. And it's a personal story that comes down to my story of moving from Boston to Philadelphia.
Okay.
And everything that goes with it.
And so are some of the experiences that the actors display within this film true to you? Or is it all fiction? Is it non-fiction? Like, talk to us about the plot.
Well, they're true to me in terms of they're true to how I think and my perspective of how I view the world. You have to understand the background. The origin of the film is I was actually leaving Boston to move to Philadelphia. I got a job offer to go somewhere. I'd never been there before. So I'm leaving behind all of my family, all of my friends, going into a brand new city that I've never been to before. No family, no friends. So with all those emotions really raw, I'm on the midnight train traveling there. I wrote the entire film within 4 hours. Okay. So there was a moment where I just kind of blacked out and the whole story came together on a pen and pad.
And that one train ride, so like, did you miss your stop or?
Not at all. Not at all.
I was like,
only one stop.
It was four.
Boston,
it's
Philly.
Boston to Philly.
There's only one stop.
Okay.
Can you imagine? He just got on the train and went right back to Boston.
It's alright.
I would have taken that L though.
What was the first thing you wrote?
The first film I ever wrote was actually District C11. Okay. And that's actually right now available on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
And that's a sci-fi feature.
What got you into writing in the first place?
Yeah, good question, brother. So before anything else, before all the movie making and everything else, I started out as a basketball player and a poet. And from there, just that element of basketball player, poet. And from there,
did you have a host?
Did you have a host?
Host what?
He just missed it.
I'm just trying to be part of
it.
He's a
basketball player.
He's a basketball player.
I'm a poet. We're trying to be like.
I was trying to add myself into the project.
Basically, we're trying to figure out if the collective can like create and direct the film.
I want to win an award too.
I didn't know that, Bertie. I didn't know that you did spoken word.
You did it.
Because I did know that.
Oh, okay.
I did. I peeped it. And I like spoken word.
In
my film.
Don't guess her.
I'm excited.
No, so you'll notice in my film there's an element of spoken word in Boston and Philly. That was something that I appreciated with Philadelphia. The art scene there is truly
beautiful.
Yes, it is.
The graffiti, wall art, street art, just everything.
Yeah.
Man, shout out to Philly. I used to love going to Philly, man.
Real
You remember back in the day?
No, it wasn't a good trip.
Oh, for you.
You definitely didn't let him answer what made him start writing.
Yeah.
I know. Sorry.
No, listen. The situation is this is very exciting to us, right? So because of that, we're gonna jump to all types of stuff.
We're all over the place.
Because we're very excited that somebody is actually doing some film here.
Okay.
You know, it's different between somebody who says, "Hey, I want to," and somebody who is actually doing it.
Yeah.
And you said, you said on Netflix now I could go.
No.
I mean Amazon Prime. I could go in there. You see what I mean?
You can wait. You can get it in 2 days. Like
you see what I'm saying? So these are excitements for people like us because that's all we do. We're like, okay, who's next? Word, this person's ill.
Well,
so
I was discussing this Shirley. Like one of the biggest reasons why I came here on time early. Because but I understand the element of when you put yourself out there for critiques, when you open yourself up for that level of vulnerability. Like the artist is the only thing you got. That's what keeps you going. Yeah. I'm a fellow artist because I make film. Yeah. You guys are fellow artists because you do spoken word. You play ball and you use this podcast as your platform.
Yes.
So it unites us. So it's dope.
Yeah, man.
What started you writing?
So,
very curious.
Again, it just comes down to, it was just innate, it was just something that was a part of me. Growing up, if you have the ability to see the beauty that comes with life in itself, you will express it any which way, form you want to. For me, I chose poetry. And from poetry, it evolved to something else. And because I also played basketball, I used my love for sports to unite with that. Like my first poem, I think, was about trying out for my first basketball team. And again, of course I did. I'm a basketball player.
He's I'm a baller.
Would you have admitted, if you
I'm a
didn't
real
make
baller.
the team, would you have told him?
Absolutely, because Michael Jordan didn't make his high school team, and he's a GOAT.
Ooh,
Okay.
I got you on there. That's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
I would have lied.
Ladies and
Right.
gentlemen, we
Right.
cannot send them these
Right.
questions free before this. All right, just let y'all know it's authentic.
Right.
Real
Real
Also, with that, do you have any siblings or anything like that? Like brothers and sisters? Okay.
Yeah, I do.
Because I know a lot of the times writers, they get inspiration from watching their families, you know. Us being Haitian, we know how growing up being Haitian is.
You got some stories to
Especially,
write.
Absolutely.
we have a lot of stories that we can come up with if you need to. Okay, so you have brothers and sisters.
Well, that's funny you mentioned that because if there's one thing I take much pride in is the fact that every single film or every single project I do has a personal touch to me in my life. Again, with Boston to Philly, the backbone of the film is it's a love story between the character that I play, Rome, aka Boston, and my love interest played by Mia Mendez, who I nicknamed Philly. And of course, that's true to form because when I first went to Philadelphia, I fell in love with that city. It was love at first sight. So it mirrors my actual story.
So you have the symbolism there.
Absolutely. And my grandfather, the old school Haitian, like he's real out
Old
here.
school, okay.
The belt and everything.
Some Ewoks, huh?
Can you mimic him?
Oh no, 'cause I don't even want if I want to swear. I can swear.
Yeah,
It's a podcast. You can swear.
Welcome to
Cochon, Mila, Bichita, Echanu. So I can go more.
If you grew up being Haitian, you would know exactly what he was talking about, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, can you talk a little bit more about that, like what your Haitian identity does for you, and how it's incorporated in the work that you do, or maybe not incorporated in the work that you do, and some of that influence, if relevant at all?
Yeah, no, I mean everything that I do is relevant to my work because I like my work to reflect who I am as a person, how I see the world. I utilize my platform to show the world how I see it and to potentially give a different voice, different narrative to what people would say is a black character or a black film. Like me, I don't actually mention my Haitian heritage in the film, but I definitely mention it as a filmmaker and as an artist. Like for example, if you go onto my website, if you go anywhere where you see my actual like business profile, it'll say Haitian American filmmaker.
Right.
Because that is something I hold near and dear.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we had. I'm sorry. I'm excited.
Do you think?
Were you born here or?
I was born here.
Okay. Good.
So, I totally understand where you're coming from because we interviewed Wyclef Jean,
I saw
right?
that, yeah.
And this wasn't my first time, and I've heard him say certain things like that before, which is he is first and foremost an artist, right?
Yes.
So it's not that he is putting his Haitian, heritage out. It's just once he made it, I need you guys to know that I am Haitian.
Absolutely.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that makes perfect sense to anybody who is an artist, that your artistry is the first and foremost, like what you want people to know. And then, so I think everybody understands that here. Yeah.
So, you see me struggle to learn this thing real quick. This is not my forte.
Okay.
Now, you started off writing poetry, then you wrote a movie. What is the hardest part of bringing the words to live action now? Like turning it into a movie in itself, like directing and all that good.
Well,
Directing to me.
I'll go even further than that because it's really what you're asking is it's actually bigger. So the hardest element of just making a film, not even just the first stage, which is turning the script into something real. The hardest it's an umbrella. The hardest element of making a film is the fact that you need to deal with life outside of making the film because nothing stops.
Okay.
Like we understand sacrifice.
Right.
We all understand that. So I'm not even going to talk about that. When you have a mountain as large as Boston to Philly, like I label that as my opus. That is a large-scale art piece that I already knew before I started was going to take me a very long time to complete. It was going to push me to the brink, leave me in some cases bitter, put me in a situation where people may not like me or I may not like them, question my friendships, question the people's and their motives. So there was already a huge amount of the tribulations I knew I was going to face.
Right.
But what I was not prepared for with making Boston to Philly was the element of life and how that really interferes and almost can distract you to the completion of your project. That was the hardest element because when I'm making the film, in the middle of production, my father figure, the patriarch of our family, who was born in Haiti, he passed away. So I'm dealing with those emotions, and then at the same time, I'm faced with this horrible situation where I need to finish this film. So that probably was that was another element of this very hard situation. Again, and then I'm in a city where I don't have a lot of my friends, and all my friends are living their life while in Boston, and I can't see them, I can't speak to them. So you see yourself losing that connection, or you think you are. So.
Well, it seems like, I mean, going off of that, you talk about sacrifices, but surviving through sacrifices and maintaining through sacrifice. But it sounds like also you kept your vision at your forefront, right? And you turned it into reality. You're like, listen, I'm going through these trying times, but I have a goal. And my goal is to finish this production. My goal is to make it live. My goal is to hit the people. Thinking about that and your own experiences and your journey through production and writing and all of that, what advice would you give to a young person, an older person who has similar ambitions as you as far as being a creative writer, a producer, a filmmaker, and has yet to do it, or maybe is doing it but is kind of struggling to kind of build that momentum?
Yeah, my advice will be always it starts with taking the step forward. I am so sick and tired of hearing people give excuses or stick with that whole, there's the entrepreneur, then there's the entrepreneur. An entrepreneur will have
I just saw that. It was an article on it. Entrepreneur versus a entrepreneur.
So an entrepreneur will have an idea and the next month put it into action. The entrepreneur will have an idea, talk about it, and sit on it forever. I am tired of hearing people say they need this and they need that. Make no mistake about it. And I mentioned to Shirley before I got here. This started as a one-man shop. Everything was started and implemented by myself, which is why I chose to act in it, because I couldn't find someone that I could trust to fulfill the vision. And if there's one thing you'll learn as a filmmaker, the rate of which indie films in particular don't get made is extremely high. I think it's for 4 out of 5 indie films never reach the finish line.
Wow.
And I found out that fact before I had my casting. So that was looming over me the whole period. So you need to just go and do it. And don't look for help. If the help comes, it will come. Just go and take a step forward. Yeah. Because once you complete it, that moment of vindication is yours. And it tastes very sweet.
I feel
That's it.
Question. Boston is notorious for feeling like people don't support the local artists. How do you feel have you feel that you've been supported, and what kind of is Boston behind you, and now is Philly behind you also with this project, Boston and Philly?
Okay, so I know of that stereotype or of that idea that people believe that if you're an artist or if you are doing something, an entrepreneur, no one can get behind you, which is why I like to lead by example. So I do my best to support everything.
Yep.
I do my best to support. Bernadine and I met while I was supporting a fellow Haitian entrepreneur. I'm on this podcast because I support what you guys do. So that can only change if more people get the mindset that we're all in it together.
Yes.
And I mentioned to Shirley that I don't see myself moving to New York or moving to California because I believe we can build a market here equally as strong and push forward. On my posts on Ralph A. World and Instagram, you'll always see me say, pushing forward the culture, moving forward the momentum, because I truly believe that. I do think I have a very dedicated fan base in Boston, in Philadelphia, in Atlanta. And I think it's only going to continue to grow once people know of my story and they see how authentic I truly am.
That's dope.
That's dope.
One thing with it being in Boston, you're doing these movies and being based out of Boston, how is the film industry? Is it very receptive to young independent filmmakers, or is it one of those things like you just gotta do it on your own and you have no avenues, you're stuck by yourself?
That's a dope question, and I'm not even going to give you the fluff. I can't answer that question until my movie drops.
Gotcha.
But I promise you, I will follow up with that.
Compromise my sponsors.
I will follow. No, because it's the fact that I don't know where the fake and where the real begins. Because there's nothing there to buy yet.
Right.
I don't care about the likes. I don't care about the followers. When there's something tangible for you to actually purchase and show me the love, then I'll
spend the money.
That's real.
I know what you need.
Then we'll see.
That is the best
What
thing I've
now?
heard.
If you got bootleg, would you feel honored or would you feel insulted?
I would feel extremely insulted because
Yeah, you put your heart
this
and soul.
is my opus.
So do you own any bootlegs?
Yeah.
That's different though.
But did I go and pay to watch Black Panther? Yes.
Yes, you did. Exactly.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
But did you purchase? Well, it's not out yet, so yeah.
There's never been a
You
black
didn't
film.
get it out
There's
yet.
never been a black film that I've ever not paid money for to support.
See?
In a theater.
And TV
I
show.
like that. I like
Right.
that.
That's real. That's
So-
what's up.
Did you go to film school or are you self-taught?
I went to college to learn how to write, and from
Okay.
there I learned the ropes by just going out and doing. In fact, my first film, Boston to Philly, it's my directorial debut, and I created that film while I was learning how to create a film.
Okay.
Again, I just was not deterred by the mountain of you can't or you shouldn't.
Right.
in
And
front of me.
what was the first door that opened up for you to get into the film industry?
It started when I was playing basketball in college. I was writing a book, and that book turned into a screenplay. And I found a Boston director, also based in Mattapan, Wes Williams, to turn my film into a web series called Boston. And it was about all these different gangs in Boston that were trying to basically fight for supremacy. And that was called Boston, the series. And that was actually my foot into it. This is real.
Okay.
He was committed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I know you said you wanted to you wanted to stay in Boston, you want to show people that Boston has what it takes as far as writing, and then East Coast. He's just like, no, I didn't
believe you.
All right, okay, so you're saying the East Coast. So talk to us, like, what are some favorite celebrities that you have in mind, or actors that you have in mind that you're like, I feel like I made it if I had them in my production, or two, like, I just really want to create something for them to be casted in.
Better yet, what up and coming?
Yeah.
Also, it's a caveat to that. What up and coming artists or actress should we be looking out for that will possibly be working with you also?
So I mean, I'm with that, Bernadine, and I love that question. But how I see things, and because of my position as the director and the producer and the writer, I don't view the personnel as something that makes me authentic for my work. So I like the idea of creating the next up and coming person. For example, Mia Mendez, I gave her first lead role, and she's gonna blow up from it now. Like when this movie drops, she's in Atlanta. She's in the mecca of the film industry, and this movie's gonna be everywhere. She's gonna be the next name. I like my second film, Celestin Kitchen. I have Arthur Williams. I have Trisha Montefiore. Not household names now, but when the film drops, they'll be coming.
They'll be coming.
So I don't, I obviously I can say the Denzel, I can say Will Smith, but I think anyone that comes into my project, because of the stories I like to give, and if I find someone talented enough, they'll build their own name.
That's it.
How do you go choosing an actor? Like actor, actress, do you have to see work that they've done previously, or would you cast somebody that's brand new, never done anything?
Like
Yeah,
an
I will.
amateur actor.
I do, yeah. So I don't. The resume really doesn't matter to me.
Okay.
It comes down to first, can you act? So I will never do. Like I need to be there for the casting.
Great.
I really need to be able to see these people.
It's not somebody else that's handpicking
Listen,
it.
don't
Yeah,
say that,
that's all.
because you're about to have Bernadine Truth in your next audition.
Come through.
Just say
I
words.
just want to do a cameo.
Yeah.
Cameo of who?
If I can play
Who
myself,
looks like-
let me play
Oh,
myself.
play yourself.
I'll be an extra.
Just write a story where there's like a up and coming podcast radio station.
The Urban Collective Show.
Here I am.
I'll tell you, there's one
New
thing
voice of
I've been
Boston.
trying- this is one thing I've failed to do since I've come back to the being. I'm based in Boston and Philly, but I have failed to find someone to really collaborate with. And I know partly it's because of me. I think, and I know I was mentioning Bernadine, I met you. One thing that made me like you off the bat was because I saw the passion that was there from jump. It's because, yeah, it's a compliment. Like I know my passion sometimes gets confused with too much assertiveness. So I know it's sometimes difficult to work with me. But I'm dying to collaborate with other people. Like I want us all to come together because I know that numbers is a powerful thing.
That's good. That's good to hear.
Urban Collective Show.
Right?
Right?
No, I was saying let's get it going.
Right here.
That's
I was
amazing.
drinking-
We support.
I told Shirley, I'm like, you gotta drink with me, right?
I'm gonna tell you right now, I never asked this much questions on an interview.
I don't know. This dude was like, I'm
That's
gonna be
more.
quiet all night.
There's
I'm not
a
gonna say
lot.
anything.
There's a lot to go with the
So,
drama,
for the
there's no
movie,
drama.
I saw the trailer for it. I watched it. When is the movie actually being released and coming out?
And
So-
where?
So
Yes.
right now, so we have 4 different platforms that have been kind of going back and forth of which date works for all of them. The idea is to release Boston to Philly. That's Boston, the number 2 Philly. You can go on Facebook, we're on Instagram. We have a website, Boston 2 Philly. You can subscribe.
Okay.
So right now, we have the plan. We're going to release on Amazon Prime, Google Play, Vudu, Fandango, and we're waiting to hear back from Hulu.
Okay.
We were supposed to release it last week.
Okay.
Because Hulu pushed us back a little bit, now we're hoping for a May 15th deadline when we release it. But again, if you like our page on Facebook, if you go on to boston2philly.com, you'll be able to subscribe. You'll get the update the minute it comes out. Or follow me, Ralph A. World on Instagram, Ralph A. World on Facebook. Just stick with our film, you'll get that information.
Okay. Are you having like a premiere or having it screened in a theater around here? Because I know we have some small theaters around here that does support independent artists.
So there's no reason to even do a small theater because we already sold out the large theaters.
Okay.
So at this point,
I like that.
Amazing.
I like that.
So
Just like you said.
So at this
You know.
point, we just need to drop it so that you don't have to only be in Boston to see it.
To see it.
We've gone to Las Vegas. We won the Best Actor, Best Actress award.
Wow, okay.
We've done in Philadelphia. We were at the African Ducans Festival. So like we've been all over the country and some cases the world showing this film. We just gotta put it so people can buy it now.
Got you. Okay.
You gotta let us know once
Yeah, man.
once you have that set date and you're like, listen, we're
Send us the
definitely
info.
launching.
We'll definitely
Let us
pick
know.
that
We'll
up for
continue
you.
to promote.
Absolutely.
That's good. That's good.
Speaking of movies, though, because we're gonna, that's gonna be part of our hot topic conversation in a little bit. What are your top 5 movies? And no
Top five,
real
top
order.
five.
But what are your top 5?
That's hard. That's
like right from the jump. Don't think of.
Oh, I don't need a thing.
You gotta be
I
like,
don't
this is-
oh, wow,
This
okay.
is what it is. This is
Okay.
what it is.
Yeah.
Most people
Number
will
one,
tell.
number one, Titanic. Number 2,
Titanic.
Sentimental Value.
Okay.
It was the first film I ever snuck into.
I'll give you
Got
that.
beaten from my mom.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
I will.
That's true. I went to the old denim theater to watch that
Yeah.
movie.
No, that movie's
To
fantastic.
this day,
That movie's
it is, and it's also again. I also like the movie,
Yeah.
but so we got Titanic, we got Rosewood,
Okay.
by Singleton.
Yep.
It's a very powerful film. If you've never seen it, please
Yes,
do.
great movie.
Loving Basketball.
Oh, my man.
Oh yeah.
Listen.
If you see the trailer, you guys,
Yes, you did. Yes, I was looking
That's
at
my
that.
favorite
'Cause
black
you used to
love
like
story.
oh, yeah.
Like,
Watching
yes,
the trailer.
one of my
Watching the trailer,
favorites.
right?
What? Yeah.
watching the
Yeah,
trailer. I saw that line and I was
Yeah,
like,
Loving
I was like, yo, that's a line from Loving Basketball in there. Okay.
Basketball.
Yeah, all right.
That movie's great.
So we
That's
got
3. Yep.
Okay.
Black Panther the movie, not
Okay.
Black Panther the comic book movie. Black Panther's the TV series movie. that
Okay.
came out.
Okay.
An amazing film. Let's see what else.
Got one more.
Yeah, and Denzel Washington, Inside Man.
Ooh,
That's
a
my
good one,
movie.
too.
That's
Good
my
movie.
movie.
Yeah,
I watched that
a young
movie.
Dakota Fanning.
Anytime it comes on, I will watch that movie
Yeah, flat out.
because it's one of those things. It's like even though I've seen it like probably 7-10 times, I still watch it. I'm like, what's gonna happen?
I'll tell you about Inside Man. So Inside Man was the first film I was able to see where you could really break down the terminology of an anti-hero, where you realize what's going on
Yes.
and who you're really rooting for, and you're
Yes.
not too sure. I like that element of it.
That's what's up.
Oh,
Yeah, I think that's-
I thought he had
I thought you had a question for a second.
It's so hard to name all. Man.
You want
I
to
love
ask
so many
questions,
movies.
I
Yeah, I was about to say movies. Like I'm more of a sci-fi person with movies and action stuff like that, but definitely the movies.
I
you
can
listed,
ask questions.
Ask the
I
questions.
definitely love.
Ask the
I
questions.
definitely
What
love
do you
it.
think of the movies coming out now? Are they helping you, or are they making you feel like I gotta go a different direction?
No, absolutely, they're helping me. I think it's a great time to be a black filmmaker right now
Okay.
because we are at the first time ever coming from a stance of power. We are proven the black dollar in the entertainment industry in this period is the largest ever been. Correct.
Yeah.
So we have a sense of vindication whenever we put anything out
Across
there.
genres too.
Yeah.
That's
I
what
love
it
that.
is.
So when Boston and Philly, and again, this is my first film, and I know that I'm only getting better. So I like to hear critiques. I like that people tell me what they like, what they don't like. I received an email when right after I won in Las Vegas from BET, claiming they wanted to see the film and they wanted to talk about a potential deal or distribution contract with my next project, and that let me know like, yo, times are changing.
Yeah.
Because I'm nobody. I'm still very young. There's still so much more I need to go.
You're somebody.
And
Everybody's a brand.
Everybody, right?
very much so. But I say it only in the sense of humbleness, not in terms of how I see myself.
Yeah.
I'm a king, you're a queen, that's how I see it, everybody. But in terms of just like where we are right now, it's just we're proven. We exist now, and there's no way you can run away from it. You know?
And a lot of the big Hollywood, big 4 or 5, whatever you want to call them, they're looking for the next Issa Rae's, the Ava DuVernays and all that. Like,
Yeah.
because they took webisodes and now they're TV. Now they're getting deals for movies and all that. They're looking for who's the next person to do that next big thing.
You always
I
go-
see this
Well, they're
so
watching
many.
that raw talent, you know what I
Exactly.
mean? It's like, oh my gosh,
Yeah,
there's so
that's
much
true.
It's been
potential,
it's been
right?
under
So
your
it's
nose
not-
the whole
it's-
time.
Yeah, it's not looking for like, oh my god, who's guaranteed. It's just like, who can we invest in?
I got a
How
question
can we
for
watch
you
it
guys.
grow?
Starting with Bernadine, because I know her better. Are you an Insecure or Atlanta? You need to pick one. Which was better?
Insecure.
Atlanta has its street rock that Insecure doesn't have.
Yes.
So I can't compare the two because I'd say because Atlanta really is about the streets. It's about the day-to-day life that happens like in the streets of Atlanta amongst the black men to men.
Yeah.
Also is that conversation, right? And I think Insecure is it's Cali. It's just a different setting. It's a different space, different topic, and different type of people in conversation. So for me personally, I think both both serve their purpose in conversation, and I think both deserve their
Pick
love
one.
and respect.
I just want to pick one.
I know. I
I
see.
can't.
Oh, wait,
because I
you
don't
did
think.
pick one.
No,
Yeah,
because
you
I
got
don't.
pick one.
I just realized
Well,
it's
like I
Bernie
said,
B. Bernie.
I don't
Bernie's
pick.
not
No,
gonna do it.
I'm not picking one because I actually don't think they belong in the same category to compare.
Yeah, that's the whole point.
But like, yeah, it's kind of like
Pick one.
Jordan and
Yeah.
LeBron.
Pick one.
Like, they're different
Okay,
players.
we'll come back to
It's
Bernie.
different.
You need to pick one.
Like,
You got.
like,
you gotta pick one, though.
You got 60 seconds.
You
You
know-
got 60 seconds to pick one. I'll tell you mine. Okay.
Because
So
they get compared to each other.
exactly. For me, this
season.
season of Insecure, I'm sorry, not Insecure. This season of Atlanta, the writing on there has been above average. I mean, each episode that I see and I watch, I'm just like, wow.
Yeah.
It takes you on a different path, and it's not something that it's common, and I love that. I hate when you have the stereotypical black writing or the black movies that you see all the time. So Atlanta, for me, definitely helps me out with that. I love Insecure. We watch it together. My wife and I, we watch it together all the time. But Atlanta, for me, I don't think she's watched Atlanta yet, but Atlanta, for me, I love Atlanta. The writing this season is beautiful, man. I love what they're doing. So right now, if I have to pick, I'm picking Atlanta.
I pick
It's been 2
I,
years.
I think Atlanta. I haven't watched the full the second season yet. The first season, it was amazing. It's very powerful. I think the show's powerful in itself. For me, I base it off of where do I get emotionally invested into? Like when I watch Insecure, I get pissed off.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't believe you just did that.
You know what?
With Atlanta, I'm like, yo, this is dope.
Yeah.
I like it. You know what I mean? But I'm not emotionally invested into
I have
it.
to watch certain episodes twice.
But listening to Kevin's reasoning though, because I definitely am an emotional investor too, and I would actually say Atlanta then speaks more to me than Insecure, because Atlanta's level of rawness and depth is like it's just crazy. Like the violence, the love, the confusion, the building, like it's just the insecurities. I'm like, it's there.
I call it the Black Seinfeld.
I call it the black boondock or the human boondocks.
The
Yes.
human
Yes.
boondocks. No,
Yes.
Boondocks was like.
But see
That
with
shit was
Boondocks, I
underrated.
loved Boondocks,
Underrated.
but I never got emotionally invested. Like if I miss an
It's a
episode,
cartoon.
But it was funny.
if
It
I
was
miss an
funny.
you know what my
It
thing
was
with
funny.
Atlanta? If I miss an
Grandpa was
episode,
my
I'm like,
favorite.
okay, cool.
Whatever. Nah,
I'll catch on the next
I
one.
got that on
Insecure?
DVR recorded.
Nah, that it better not get deleted.
Issa.
I can't believe you.
With Boston and Philly, I took this approach when I was writing it. I was trying to be as forward-thinking as possible in terms of what topics I see right now, just building up steam, that will be relevant once the film comes out. And I saw that really happening because when Boston Philly was happening, there was like a huge momentum in terms of the Black Lives Matter movement, and just like this uproar of young students coming out being like, "Yo, we're gonna take a stance." So I don't know. Are you guys familiar with affluenza? The term affluenza.
I've heard of it, not too
So
familiar.
peep this, okay? And if you go to BostonToPhilly.com, we have to talk about it under the origin stuff. But so affluenza was something I came across. This while I was in Philly, I ended up writing it into the film.
Okay.
Affluenza is an actual term you can go off of when you're in a court of law that you are so wealthy, you are so affluent that you cannot be held responsible for your actions because you've never heard no. There's no like. There's
Oh,
no.
I've read this.
impacting like
I just
that.
didn't remember the
Like,
name,
they
but I
just
have
don't-
read this.
They just,
Yes.
It's like their way of pleading ignorance.
Exactly.
Well,
Okay.
It's the rich people's insane.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically.
Pretty much.
So going to Philadelphia, traveling to North Philly, going to the slums in Philadelphia, just going to areas that a lot of people would, the Badlands is the real place. I dubbed the term reverse affluenza, which is basically the same concept, but it's like
poverty.
Hi, Bernie, we get it. You out here?
Okay. One thing also, okay, watching your trailer. I was watching the trailer. I watched it about 2 to 3 times the other day because I was like, it looks like it's a story within a story to me. Okay, because I was looking at it, I was like, okay, it starts off.
That's what's the most interesting.
Yeah, I was watching. I'm like, okay, so he's talking about this, and then in the middle of the trailer, about 2 minutes in, it flips the whole script,
Yes.
and I'm like, wait, what's happening? I pulled my wife to the side. I was like, okay, it just flipped. What is going on over here? He was talking about this. Now he's on with this story and everything. So with the whole story, is it 2 separate stories coming together, or is it all just basically different aspects or different views of, different stories and different human beings?
So originally,
all characters.
So I try to do my best whenever someone asks me what Boston Philly is about to mention the fact that it's a cast ensemble piece.
Okay.
So because what that
That
means
makes
is,
sense.
yeah, so there's multiple different story arcs.
Okay.
So with, and I'm trying